He asked if she was content now, noting that 2 hours had passed since the events began. He confessed that he hadn't felt this fulfilled in a very long time, then asked if she had been intimate with others previously. She emphatically stated that he was her first partner and nothing similar had happened with her ex-boyfriend. She warned Shin Yuan that her sister must never find out about them. She internally acknowledged that although their relationship wasn't emotionally cheating, Shin Yuan was still technically her brother-in-law, a fact that could deeply disappoint her sister. She announced her need to use the restroom. She realized that if her sister emerged and didn't see him in the living room, their secret would be exposed, frantically urging him to come up with a solution. He calmly contrasted the current minor situation with the few times he had to sneak around at Sister Lin's house, finding her panic unwarranted. A loud sound marked the door closing as her sister returned to her room, having thankfully not noticed Shin Yuan's temporary absence. He asked how she felt about the experience, comparing it to a roller coaster ride, but she immediately replied that it was terrifying and not fun at all. He told his partner to get accustomed to the situation, as this kind of arrangement would soon become their regular routine. The next morning, her sister greeted Shin Yuan, urging him to get ready for the breakfast she had prepared, which he enthusiastically complimented. Confused, she asked why he had suddenly used the intimate term, and he asked if she disliked it. She nervously denied disliking it, only stating that she was unaccustomed to the word, prompting him to suggest she would hear it much more often soon. She quickly interrupted, finding the exchange inappropriate for the early morning, especially if their sister saw, and urged him to go wash up, which he readily agreed to. He complimented her kindness, expressing his appreciation for her actions. She scolded him sharply, noting how different her personality was now compared to the previous night, and lamented that her affection meter for him still hadn't increased. He was momentarily shocked by her sudden change in tone. Her sister instructed her to cover up properly because Shin Yuan was present, and she acknowledged the instruction. Her sister told her not to look displeased, accepting the blame for letting Shin Yuan stay over and promising that he would not sleep there in the future. Misunderstanding her sister's intentions, she secretly worried about how she would satisfy her needs if Shin Yuan stopped visiting, then reassured her sister that she truly did not mind his presence. Her sister questioned her sincerity, which she affirmed with a double confirmation. Her sister noted Shin Yuan's large appetite, speculating he must have been starving, while she internally mused that his high energy expenditure the day before had likely been the cause. Shin Yuan insisted her breakfast was the most amazing he had ever eaten and, while calling her the affectionate term again, suggested an activity for later before abruptly trailing off. Li Meng quickly announced that she was returning to her room. She wondered why Li Meng looked so strange and was blushing, dismissing the idea that she had seen them hugging in the kitchen as a cause for such a reaction, finding the whole thing odd. At 9:30 a.m., President Shin demanded an explanation from Manager Jia at Jingfu Corporation. Manager Jia was visibly hesitant to address the situation. President Shin revealed that the current documents were only part of the evidence, and the numbers alone were enough to warrant prison time. Manager Jia pleaded that the situation wasn't that serious, but the president countered by highlighting the theft of company funds and asking if he should be serious. Manager Jia asked what he could do to receive leniency from President Shin. The president demanded that the manager and his associates immediately resign and leave the company, in addition to revealing everything he knew. Jia Nanho paused, weighing his options, prison or cooperation. Jia Nanho quickly agreed to tell President Shin everything and then leave, consequently exposing all the internal secrets of Jingfu Company, finally realizing the president's prior strategy. The president told him not to linger, instructing him to hand over everything to Yu Jifeng, take all his documents, and consider them even, hoping they would never cross paths again. Shin Yuan was impressed by his own strategic skill and the respect the young boss commanded. A subordinate addressed the boss, who told him to speak. The subordinate presented a prospective apartment near Guanting, noting the low rent and included utilities, and asked for the boss's opinion. The boss approved the apartment and instructed the subordinate to contact the landlord and sign the contract. He asked Coach Lu what the problem was now. Coach Lu was crying and tearfully calling him hubby, which caused him concern. He wondered why the coach had yet to say anything even though he was already present, noting that crying and making a scene was not in the coach's character. He threatened to leave, but the coach urgently begged him to stay. The coach tearfully complained that his workouts never exceeded an hour anymore and he left immediately, worrying that Shin Yuan no longer needed him, as nothing new was happening at the fitness center. He was surprised the coach was crying so hard over such a trivial issue. The coach asked if he even remembered how long it had been since he had called.